Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to this week's recap/review of Love After Lockup on WeTV. This episode is episode 6, Race to the Altar. So what's on my lips is the Fenty Beauty Mademoiselle in the color PMS. I'm absolutely loving this. Like, I love it. Ooh, it's a 90s kind of world. Thanks for those of you who thought the wig was my natural hair. Girl, I ain't got no hair. Look at this. The hair is like refusing to grow in certain areas. Okay, let's get started. So first off, we start with Janna and Garrett. So the first setup we see with Janna and Garrett is Janna walking with her father in a park, drinking coffee. Janna tells her father that Garrett proposed and she wants her father to be excited and be on board with this wedding. Her father, who is the realest one of anybody in this entire series, now he's proposed to you, now what? And she's like, well, I thought you'd be happy. Isn't this what you wanted? And he's like, no, no, I just want you to think about what you are doing, girl, because I'm not going to be there to pick up the pieces of your broken heart for it to fall apart in 2 years. Like, he just got out of prison. You forced him to marry you. You probably bothered him and bugged him about it for weeks and weeks and weeks, and now he's finally done it because that's what you wanted, and he probably did it just to shut you up. And she's like, well, and I'm just like, Janna knows that. She has to know. She has to know that he proposed when he did to shut her up. So she's like thinking about it. Dad gets upset. He like slams his coffee on the ground. Dude, Dad is so dramatic, but I love it because he's being so real. He like slams the coffee on the ground, and I thought it was going to be a much bigger situation because, you know, we've been seeing clips of him slamming that coffee down on the ground, but I'm just like, why are you slamming the coffee down? Was it that crazy for him? I guess it was. Obviously, Garrett is not ready to be married. Obviously. It's obvious to everyone of us watching. It's obvious to everyone around her. I mean, God bless him. I'm not here to judge. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here to watch. I am here to judge. But like, I don't actually care. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, she then thinks about that and decides to go visit Garrett at work. I thought it might have been set up, but Garrett makes mention to the fact that she did just show up at his work and pull him away. So like, would it be okay with her job if Garrett just showed up with cameras at the job to have a conversation? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So like, either it was set up by WeTV and we're made to believe that Janna's just kind of crazy and showed up at his job, or she's kind of crazy and just showed up at his job with Cameron. But anyway, so she shows up at his job to like have the conversation because for whatever reason, girl, she could not wait until they got home from work to have the conversation in their living room. Well, my dad and I were talking, and Garrett's like, because, you know, Garrett don't like her talking to her dad about their relationship. And she's like, well, my dad and I were talking, and my dad seems to think that I might have forced you into this proposal, and I really want to know if if you really want to marry me. Of course, Garrett is going to say yes, guys. Like, Janna is providing him a place to live. He is not stable enough to go out on his own. It's what she wanted. It's what he promised. He can't go back on his word. He don't got no place else to go. Like, it's not that I don't believe that he doesn't love Janna, but I do think that if she hadn't put the pressure on him to propose, he probably wouldn't have proposed when he did. He might have waited until he was done paying off the car a little bit. He could actually afford a ring without having to like him and haw. Like, I think it would have happened, you know, at a later date. However, they are filming a reality TV show, and a part of their contract, I'm sure, is him proposing and then filming the wedding. How much you want to bet WeTV is paying for this wedding? Boop, let's just get it all together, you guys. Let's like realize the reality of this reality TV show and like put some dots together, you know what I'm saying? So Garrett says yes, that he does want to marry Janna and he loves her and he thinks that she's a wonderful, beautiful, smart woman, and why wouldn't anybody want her? Yada, 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 whoop, de, boop, boop, boop. She's like, okay, and they're like smiling, you know, they're on the beach, and because he works at a beachside bar, so they're on the beach having this conversation. And it's still a red flag for me that Garrett doesn't appreciate the dad's 2 cents. I mean, I get where he's coming from. Like, I get it. But, like, it also makes me feel like he doesn't understand family the way he needs to understand family, because obviously dad is going to look out for his daughter. I mean, wouldn't you want a dad who looks out for their daughter? So I think he would need to see that from that point of view. Okay, so moving on, we're going to move on to Andrea and Lamar. Girl, Andrea and Lamar. Okay, so the first scene with Andrea is that she has taken the girls to get their wedding dresses. Apparently Mormons are supposed to be very modest, so she's looking for a wedding dress that's going to cover up her arm, because I guess showing her arms is not being modest, which I didn't know. So she's trying on dresses, Priscilla, the baby girl, is trying on dresses, and Nyla is trying on dresses too. And her homegirl, Stephanie, the one who went and figured out how to do weave, like, did you guys know that her friend Stephanie, like, took special classes to learn how to keep Andrea's hair laid and slayed? Whenever I see a woman who isn't in her like confessionals, their weaves be busted, but I feel like Andrea's weaves be ready to go. Like, I feel like they're combed out, you know what I'm saying? Her edges are right, and she even got Nyla's edges right, which I'm just like, do you put a weave in a 12-year-old? I don't know though. I'm not a modern mother, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know about makeup and weaves on a 12-year-old, but she looks cute. She was cute. So anyways, they're trying on dresses. Priscilla's really excited because she's happy to see Papa. She wants to meet him. She wants to be in Papa and Mama's wedding. Lamar is the only father she knows. She doesn't know her real father, and Lamar has been talking to her and writing to her, and so she's really excited to see him. Nyla, however, girl, is not, and she's just kind of sitting there, and she's like, you know, she's excited to see her mom in the dress. Like, she does have a reaction to her mom in that dress, but she's just kind of like chill, you know. Michelle is there too, and Michelle, who is way taller than I thought she was from my initial shots of her. Then Lamar calls Andrea, and Andrea like has her veil on, and she answers the phone, and she's telling him she's trying on dresses, and he breaks the news to her that he can't come out there, that he didn't get approved. She's a little bit more let down than I think she should be, and this leads me to believe that Andrea truly doesn't understand the prison system and like how parole works. Like, she just like doesn't get it, hasn't done a little Google search, you know, doesn't talk to other prison wives to know how messed up the situation can be, because she is very upset, as though like he's done this to her. Because she's like, you're supposed to come up here and meet the kids, like we've got this weekend all planned, and I guess then he's asking her to go down there, which the answer is just yay or nay, and the answer ends up being yay. She goes and she takes the kids down to LA to see Lamar, but she's very upset, thinking that Lamar didn't try hard enough to get his parole officer to let him come to Utah, or he's lying and his parole officer did give him permission, he just doesn't want to come to Utah. So I think the fact that she thinks he's lying shows like a very deep rooted insecurity on Andrea's part, and we already know she's insecure, but every time it gets shown to us and there's more evidence of her insecurity, the less and less I tend to like her. I'm judging it because I don't understand it. I don't understand how you've done all these things, yet you're still thinking him a liar and you're still thinking bad of him. Then maybe that's your instinct telling you that you want to get out of it. I don't know. That's just how I think. So anyways, she packs the kids up. Tennyson and Nyla are a little bit like spun in a loop, because they're like, so we're just gonna bounce and leave? Like, what's gonna happen? And Andrea is just so insistent that once Lamar gets there, once they meet Lamar, once he moves in, they're going to be a real family. And I think that she's unknowingly kind of on the family that they have now. They are a real family. Her and her 3 beautiful kids are a real, complete, absolute, awesome family. The 2 oldest seem like they can critically think. The fact that Nyla can explain to us how she's feeling about Lamar at 12 years old lets me know that she's very smart. And Tennyson to me is like, I'm like, is he a boy genius? He's really, really eloquent and very good at explaining exactly how he feels. He's just like, I feel like we already have a family, so you keep saying that we're going to be a family as though what we have now is not a family. I don't really know the guy. I don't hate him. I'm just like, you know, she wants him to move in, and I think that we already have a family structure as it is. So, you know, it's going to be weird. We're going to see what's going to happen. And also, he's like, I'm not saying I don't like the guy. I'm saying I don't know him. And so for you to keep saying things like we're going to be a family and wanting to be happy and optimistic and excited, I can't be those things, because I'm just kind of like, well, we'll see. I'll get to know him. I'll talk to him. We shall see. Personally, I feel like Tennyson is used to having the relationship with his mother that he has with her. My biggest worry, and the same thing with Nyla, is that she's going to expect Andrea is going to expect Lamar Lamar then to back her up whenever she gives her kids orders or directions and they choose to not do them or talk back, because they do talk back, which to me, like, if that's your relationship with your kids, that's your relationship with your kids. I'm not here to judge. But what I wouldn't want is for Lamar to step in and start to like reinforce what Andrea is saying, because I think that's going to be a huge breach until he has earned their respect. Part of me feels like Andrea is going to expect Lamar to immediately jump into father role when I don't think that he would think he would need to, and I don't think the kids think that he would need to, but I feel like Andrea is so hell-bent on having a male presence and a father figure in their lives that she's probably willing to let Lamar step in early where he shouldn't step in. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, I think Tennyson is probably a little too old for Lamar to step in and try to like tell what to do, especially because he's been the man of the house and he seems very passive and like a smart, intelligent like thinker. So I don't think that he's going to like pop off, but she could easily turn Tennyson away from her and their family structure by making Lamar step up to Tennyson in a way that doesn't need to happen. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say in this situation. Nyla is just like, she's very clear about her feelings about it. She's like, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to get to know him. It's crazy that she's forcing us to do this. And she's standing by her guns. And like, I can't even fault her. Again, I cannot fault her. So anyways, they get to LA and Tennyson is not impressed. He thinks it's ugly, which fine, girl. Okay, Tennyson. Okay. LA is a much older city than Lehigh, Utah. So don't talk about my city. Anyways, for whatever reason, I didn't realize where Dulo lived, okay? Lamar is set up in a really nice house situation. Dulo is doing well. Dulo lives in like Laurel Canyon, girl. I was like, oh, Laurel Canyon. I thought it was gonna be south of the 10 freeway, girl. There were some nice houses up there, nice and hilly. That's why she got lost. So she got lost. You guys were like, oh, she's always getting lost. She got lost because she was in an area that like doesn't have the best GPS like situation going on. And it's like hilly and there's lots of different nice houses and the streets are small. Like, I feel her. So anyways, they get there. Nyla refuses to get out of the car. Lamar tries to say what's up to her. He reaches in and touches her hair, which I'm like, boop, nope, 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 don't touch my hair. Don't touch my hair. I don't know you. And then Priscilla gets out of the car. She's so excited to finally meet Papa. Andrea is really happy. Andrea tries to bribe Nyla out of the car. Nyla sees right through it and calls her out on it. It's like, really, you're gonna bribe me, bruh? Like, whatever. So then Tennyson and Priscilla and Andrea and Lamar go downstairs into Lamar's like bedroom area. Then Tennyson goes back up and gets Nyla out of the car and coaxes her out. So Nyla comes downstairs and they're having this conversation in the house. And Andrea messed up because for some reason, I guess she thought in her fantasy of how cool it is to be dating a gang member, she told her kids that he's a gang member. I don't think that Andrea should have told her kids that Lamar was a gang member. Not to lie to them, but I think that that's something that Lamar needed to explain to them what he did, because they are like suburban kids who know nothing about the 90s. I'm not taking anything from them, but they grew up in Lehigh, Utah, okay? They're Mormon. They didn't grow up around a lot of black people and what's going on in the rest of the black world of the United States of America. So they're very, very naive to what's actually going on. The fact that Lamar is an LA guy who is in a gang is not shocking at all. If you were in LA during the 90s, and those of you who are all over, if you were alive during the 90s, it was very real out here. And you were in a gang or you weren't in a gang. And those who weren't in the gang stayed in the house the whole time. They went to school, they came home and stayed in the house. Like, the fact that he went to jail for being in a gang and robbery isn't a shock. And he should be allowed to redeem himself and be a better person, because the struggle was real back then. And I don't feel like it's anyone's place to judge a young black male in the 90s in LA, okay? Okay, so her kids are doing that because they have no idea and because they just think gang member, he robbed people, he's bad. So her kids aren't gonna be understanding. And she's trying to like, she's like falling into the fantasy of dating a bad boy as well, which I think is bad for Lamar's image. If she had just been like, Lamar did something, you know, bad that he wasn't supposed to do, he's very regretful, and stopped talking about him being a gang member and how he's a blood and all that stuff, then I think they would have been more susceptible to understanding his point of view. The fact that Nyla is so like, oh, he sells drugs, like, you're such a bad person. I'm like, y'all is sheltered, which is fine. I do think Andrea, because of that, did not set Lamar and the kids up for success. You feel me? Okay. So anyways, that's where it ends. It ends with her being mad at Nyla and Nyla and Tennyson just being like, you're bringing this thief drug dealer into our house and he's supposed to be our dad. Okay. you're not making good choices. And if it were us making these choices, you would be just as angry and annoyed at us as we are at you. Boop. Truth be told. So the next thing we move on to is Lizzy and Scott.